Joining us now is Rabbi Jeffrey Myers. He is the rabbi of the Tree of Life Synagogue, and he will lead the funeral services for the Rosenthal brothers later this morning. Rabbi, thank you so much for taking time to be on our program with us. We know you have a very busy and very sad morning ahead of you. But Rabbi, we just wanted to have you back. I can't tell you how many people yesterday made a point of emailing me or coming up to me directly and telling me how moved they were by your words here on New Day yesterday. And so we wanted to check back in with you and just hear how you're feeling and how your congregation is doing this morning.
Warm greetings from Squirrel Hill, Allison. I think we're trying to put the pieces back together. Everyone, I think, is still in varied degrees of grief, shock, dismay, all rolled into one. And my priority, responsibility, particularly over these next few days, is to tend to my congregation, all of their needs, most particularly the families who suffered losses. I mean, I met with a family yesterday, and how do I answer a family when the parents say, we thought the graves would be for us, not for our children? How do you answer that?
I don't know, Rabbi. How do you answer that to them?
As best as I could, I said to them, we have to be grateful for the years that we did have and what a gift both of your sons were to all of us, and how blessed we've been, and how they enriched our lives, and how lucky we were that they were part of us for the time that they were here.
I want to talk to you a little bit more about these brothers, Cecil and David Rosenthal, because although the rest of us don't know them the way you did, we've come to know them, we feel, through particularly this photo that somehow, I think, captures their warmth. I mean, the idea that these gentlemen were greeters for so long at the synagogue, and we can only imagine that their smiles and how they greeted people. And we know that they had special needs and that they made much of their life about the Tree of Life Synagogue. So what will you say about them today?
Well, I haven't really formed all my words yet. I hope I get some divine guidance as to the right words. But I can share with you, in the time that I've known both Cecil and David, that they brought a warmth into the building that had nothing to do with the heating system, that when I would first walk into the building, they'd be there already with a warm greeting. How am I? How's my family? And it just perks you up immediately to know, wow, what an innately warm and wonderful human being. Why can't there be more people like Cecil and David?
I think we all wonder that, obviously, in this time of threats and violence and crime. And of course, we look to our leaders to give us comfort during that time, and we look to our religious leaders like you. And so what do you say to your congregants? What do you say to the country? How are we supposed to make sense of everything that's happened in the past week?
Since I haven't come an answer with yet, but I can say this, and this has been my message since this horrific incident. Words of hate must cease. I spoke Monday evening, I think was the vigil. The days have melded into one. I've lost track of what day today even is. I said to our elected leaders that you're our leaders. We turn to you. You're the models for our country. When you speak words of hate, when you speak ill of the other candidate, any words of hate, Americans listen to you. They get their instructions from you. When you speak words of hate, you say to them, this is okay, you can do it as well. So I turn to all of our elected leaders, because hate doesn't know a political party. Hate is not blue, hate is not red, hate is not purple. Hate is in all. I turn to them to say, tone down the hate, speak words of love, speak words of decency and of respect. When that message comes loud and clear, Americans will hear that, and we can begin to change the tenor of our country.
From your lips to our leaders' ears, Rabbi, I've heard that you've taken some heat for saying that President Trump is welcome in your synagogue. What do you say to people who criticize you for opening your doors to the president at this time?
When I first said that the president was welcome, I've received a lot of email, too numerous to count. I can't keep track. For every email I read, two appear as I'm reading that one. So I just cannot keep up with it. I've received many emails that are not happy with those words. The thing that saddens me is those emails also contain hate. And it just continues in this vicious cycle. Hate, promulgating more hate, promulgating more hate. And that's just not the solution. We need to be better than this. We can be better than this.
I was struck by you saying that you're not a rabbi for Republicans, you're not a rabbi for Democrats, you're a rabbi. And so you stick to the ideals, those principles, but how do you break that cycle of hate?
After I share that solution, will you nominate me for the Nobel Peace Prize?
We already will.
Thank you. I think it just comes one person at a time. I don't think there's a magic solution to breaking hate. I think every human being has the capability of being evil and of being good. They make a personal choice which direction they want to go. I've made the choice, and some say rather naively, but I've made the choice that good will always win out, and that this is not about any one person. This is about hate, and that good must win. The alternative, I don't want to think about.
Do you plan to see President Trump during his visit today?
I have no plans at this time for any involvement. My attention will be with the family. I have a funeral, and I must tend to their needs, and that's where my attention is focused.
If you do see him, what message will you give to him?
The same message I just shared with you.
Yesterday, Rabbi, you shared with us something very personal about how you were feeling because you were in the synagogue when the gunfire broke out, when the attack happened. You did the best you could. You were the first to call 911, as far as you know. You tried to save lives. I believe you did, but not everyone's. And you are processing that and wrestling with those feelings. And I'm wondering what you tell yourself when you struggle with that guilt.
I'm still wrestling with it. I still have the entire loop of those 20 minutes or so playing in my head nonstop. I think that's just part of how I'm going to find ways for me to cope with this as well. But that's for another day. My attention first has to be with my congregants and their needs. I will attend to myself. I'm not that foolish, but that's not my priority right now. My congregants' needs are my priority.
Rabbi, what about the synagogue? What about that building that has meant so much to people, but that frankly became a crime scene? Can people go back? What happens there?
The building is still not open or available. It's still an active crime scene with the FBI doing their due diligence, and I must commend them for the care and respect that they've given to our building, to our Torah scrolls and other religious artifacts. I've been in the building. I've seen the aftermath of the chapel, so I know exactly what the challenges are for them and how warm and caring and professional they've been, and I must commend them for all of their actions. We will not be in there for a very long time. I can't give you a timetable. There's much that needs to be rebuilt, both the physical structure as well as the rebuilding of my congregation. I have no doubt there will be people who may not feel comfortable going back into that building. And those are going to be real long-term challenges for us. But we are a tree of life. We will rebuild, and life will continue in this building.